Right, let's continue with our previous video where I was talking about women not being so easy. You see, woman, let me tell you something, really important. This is like from a guy's perspective. If you are looking for a guy who is going to stick around, if you're looking for loyalty and commitment and all that there, well, then you need to take yourself off the market. Sounds counterproductive, right? You need to take yourself off the market. You need to put away that I'm available sign, right? And then, incidentally, you will attract men who are loyal and committed. Why? Because a woman that's on the market in the male psychology is not a loyal and committed woman. Simply, she's not, because she has put herself out there. And since she's put herself out there, as a man, you simply don't know how many men she's been with. You know, the more men a woman has been with, the less attractive she becomes to a man, and that is just basically because the less likely she's going to be satisfied with you, and the less likely she'll be loyal and committed to you because, well, she has options. She has emotional connections with so many different men. And so you just have to screw up one time and she's out of there. So men don't want that. For a man, the least partners a woman has before he comes along, the better. And so, when a man finds you on the market, then, and especially if you give it up too easily, meaning you enter a relationship with him very quickly and you are prepared to sleep with him very quickly and all of that, well, that's not the kind of woman most men commit to. No, those are the women men will sleep with, but not commit to, not marry, because, well, they simply just won't know that the men in the back of their minds are thinking, look, if I could bet this woman so easily, you know, who else, before me was able to do it? And so simply that's not, uh, that's not a woman that men look to keep, okay? The woman that men look to actually keep, the woman they look to marry, are the women that they have a great difficulty in acquiring, okay? It's the woman that is not even on the market, the woman that they have to woo and chase after and jump through, 100 hoops for, to finally get to her. Well, that's the woman that the man thinks, okay, this woman, was guarded. This woman, you know, um, was not just available for all men to be with. No, this woman was so guarded that I had to basically fight through, uh, you know, go through several obstacles, slay dragons and all that there, to get to the princess in the tower. I mean, there's a reason why fairy tales run that way. There's a woman, she's a princess in the tower, and the knight in shining armor comes along and has to slay dragons and, jump through all these hoops to get to her. And finally, when he gets to her, he has, uh, uh, true love's kiss and etc. And they live happily ever after. Well, that's because that might be a fairy tale, but that is really what it takes to live happily ever after. Um, because when a man has to put in a lot of effort to get to the woman in the first place, right? It means that not just any man could get there. And that when he gets there, right? Firstly, it makes her feel secure because, wow, this man, he was prepared to do all this for me. He must really love me, right? And then, so she feels secure from the start. She feels secure in the relationship. And then the man also, incidentally, because he had to do all those things to get to the woman, well, guess what he feels? He's like, well, no other man, right, uh, could get to her before me. So that's also important for the male psychology because it means to him in his mind that he can trust her, that she's not just gonna wander off with another man once she's been with him, because she has held herself in high regard and has upheld certain standards for herself. And so just not any man could have her, you know. But when you're on the dating scene, when you're on the market, when you're dating several guys, and you know, 1 month here and 1 month there and 2 months here and 1 week there and so on. Well, guess what? The guys, most of the guys who are gonna date you are not gonna stick around, because, well, you haven't, marketed yourself. You haven't not uh, basically shown that you are worth sticking around for. Um, you're clearly just a woman that men go with for fun, to pass time, the in between girl, until eventually he's gonna settle down with the real one, and so on. So, you know, if that's what you're after, well, that's what you do. But if you're after the guy, the serious guy, the long term guy, the committed and loyal, loving guy, well, then you should not be on the market to begin with, right? Because those girls you don't find on the market, on the dating market. Those girls you find at home. Those girls you find um, by going to ask the father, for a hand in marriage. Those girls you find by, not really having free access to them. Those are the girls, that are worth marrying and staying with and committing to, because those are the girls who will know how to do commitment, because that's their expectation. That's what they're held out for. And so, yeah, so that's for the girls, For the guys, that's why probably it's better for you to just ignore women, because most women, of course, are just there for fun, and it's a waste of your time, basically. Um, you could, like, date several girls and just have fun with them, and um, but I mean, from what you see in a lot of men who kind of live that lifestyle, it gets old. It gets old. It starts to feel like, you know a waste of time. uh, it's not, you know fulfilling or rewarding in any deep and meaningful way. And so you better off, spending your time working on yourself, becoming successful at what you do, engaging in your hobbies, hanging out with your guy friends, um, and ignoring women completely, because that's how you're going to actually find women of high value, women who are going to be prepared to actually have long-term committed relationships with you. Um, the rest of them, 90% of them, are just going to be an unnecessary distraction to your life. You're going to be spending a fortune on dating them, going out with them, trying to impress them, buying them shit, and all of that. And it's just not worth it in the end, because what is she going to offer you, really? You know, uh, you know, you see, when in the past, a woman, uh, though in the days of chastity, basically, right? If a woman slept with you, if she went as far as to sleep with you, right, it was meaningful, because chastity was important, okay? So if a woman offered you sex, it was meaningful, because sex was just not on offer in general, and not all the time, and not by any woman. So if a woman offered you that, it was meaningful, and it meant, 9 times out of 10, that the woman intends to remain with you in a long-term committed relationship, because she's giving you something that is sacred, and valuable and important to her, okay, in the days of chastity, okay. In the days of promiscuity, these days, right, when a woman offers you sex, she really isn't offering you anything, okay. It's meaningless, it doesn't mean anything, okay, because you are not special, okay. She's offering that, or she's been offering that, or she will consistently be offering that to 10 or 15 or 20 other guys out there, whoever's willing to latch on to her, right? She will just offer it to that person. So you're not special, you know, and what she's offering you is not exactly meaningful because it's not meaningful to her, okay. Whereas in the days of chastity, it and for chaste women who look after themselves, who pride themselves on, you know, retaining their virginity and so on, right? For her, for that woman, it's meaningful. And so if that woman is offering you herself, she's really offering you herself. It's the biggest deal ever, you know. And you you should be prepared to make, you know, the commitment to remain with her, you know, in the long term. So basically, that's kind of the dynamic we were working with, you know. And sometimes we get our wives' trust, and we make the mistake to believe that a low value woman is a high value woman, or a low value man is a high value man. You know, we run after the glitter, the glitz and glamour, the butterflies, and the whatever, the excitement, you know, and then you find out actually the woman is just a low value woman. She's not a chaste woman. She doesn't believe in fidelity, and that the fact that she would be sleeping with you really just doesn't make a difference to her either way, right? Though it may make a difference to you, though it may mean something to you, it doesn't mean something to her, and vice versa. You get a lot of really decent women who get played by the player. You know, he stirs her up emotionally. He tells her he loves her. He buys her flowers. He flatters her, and then he keeps running after her, you know, for months and months and months, to sort of prove his commitment to her. And when she feels like he has proven his commitment to her, she gives it up. And after a week or 2 or 3 weeks, he just walks away because he got what he wanted. Okay, so that happens too. And so the girl thinks that, okay, this is a high value man, is a man who's, you know, gonna commit to me, and he loves me, and etc. And guess what? He doesn't. He was just after the challenge of betting you. That's it. You could see that you were a challenge. You could see that you were a decent girl. You could see that it's not gonna be easy to get to you. And he feels like he needs to, you know, it's exciting for him to try to get you, to try to bed you, and when he does, then he'll just walk away. And that's what some men do. um, Even men who go after married women, they see it as exciting, and they see it as a challenge, they see it as, you know, it's a thrill. And then once they, you know, sleep with your wife, well then, you know, the thrill is done, the goal has been obtained, and then they walk away. So that's kind of what, you know, happens, you know. um, it's like a victory, you know, over the guy also, you know. It's like, you know, um, it, it's sick really, you know, but people do it. And so what I'm basically, you know, advocating, you know, both women and men, look, you got to decide what you want, you know. If you want something decent, something long term, something committed, right? Both men and women, just jump off the dating market, live your life, stop worrying about it. And incidentally and ironically, it sounds conflicting, contradictory, but actually it will happen for you when the time is right. You know, you will meet the right person, because it's not just about, a guy is just not a guy, you know, or any guy, and a girl is not just a girl or any girl. You know, you want to meet the right man as a woman and as a man, you want to meet the right woman, who will be able to live, you know, a decent lifestyle, where she's able to commit to you, and where committing to you is not seen as an inhibitor or inhibiting her freedom because she imprisoned herself before she got to you. And that's kind of where I want to end off. For chase people, marriage is a liberator, okay? Because you're a guy, you know, you want to get married, you are chaste, you don't sleep around, you know, and finally, the day you get married, you are liberated. You are now free to express yourself as a man, okay? So, marriage liberates you as a guy when you are chaste, okay? When you are not sleeping around. Um, you don't feel like, something has been taken away from you. Actually, something has been added to you, okay? Um, and the same thing as a girl, when you there, you waiting for the right one to come along, and finally he does, and after preserving yourself for this man, he you marry him, and marrying him is a liberator. It liberates you because you were imprisoned before through your own moral consciousness and your own will. You were imprisoned before to wait, okay? And so the truth is, guys and girls, when you do that, so that's the recipe for committed long-term relationships, marriages, okay? When you sleep around, basically you're robbing yourself of that committed long-term relationship. You are robbing yourself of it and the fulfillment that you will find inside of it, because you just have exposed yourself to too much. And now you cannot find fulfillment in one man because, well, you're used to a whole bunch of them, you know? And similarly for men, if you are sleeping around too much and you have too many women in your life and you just touch and go with so many women, well, guess what? When you marry the woman that you want to marry and have a family with and kids with, and you will find yourself constantly straying from your marriage because, well, lifestyle habits don't just stop the day you decide to commit to a woman, either for both men and women. If you're a female that used to being around the block, well, when you finally commit to a man to get married and all of that there, you're probably still going to be sleeping around because, well, lifestyle habits die hard. You to make that firm commitment to actually be practice fidelity, becomes feels like something that is next to impossible for you, well, because you're just not used to it. So that's kind of thing. So you always rob yourself. So your freedom robs you basically from your fulfillment, okay? Because you'll become overexposed, and then you can never find satisfaction in long-term committed relationships, and then you constantly have to practice infidelity to supplement the dissatisfaction you feel within your long-term committed relationships, and you become totally messed up emotionally, and you constantly feel unfulfilled, and you constantly just uh, sleep around to try to find that fulfillment, but you never find that fulfillment quite really, because you're just chasing after emotional highs, and so you know your your lover will eventually just, I don't know, become boring when the relationship seems too settled, and then you just keep doing it basically, and so your mind is totally messed up, because you are too overexposed and because you're not willing to make the commitment to commit basically. And so that happens like for both men and women, and that's why you need to choose really carefully what it is you want to do. If it is you want long-term committed relationships and fulfilling marriages, well, then don't sleep around, because you are robbing yourself from your committed other. You are actually robbing your spouse, your future spouse, and you're robbing yourself, from finding contentment in that spouse. Um, but if you're not gonna do committed long-term relationships and you are just in it for the fun of sleeping around and all of that, well, then you'll probably just grow old, alone, and miserable. Well, those are the choices you made, and so you got to live with it. And that's, your problem, and you do it the way you do it best. And I don't know, become a nun eventually, or go to you know, the East, and I don't know, meditate or something, but that's the choices you live with, the choices you make, basically, and only you can make it, you know. And so that's kind of my advice, guys and girls, following on from the video of yesterday. um, you can't have it all, basically, and I think guys understand that more, than girls do, because girls tend to want to have it all. You can't have it all. Thank you very much.